like I'm Sonny Crockett. Play with me, that's a risk. Gold chain master, risk. All wifey, Sonny Crockett from the Vice, yeah, it's pricey. I ain't tryna hear you whine while I'm dining. Telling yo, I ain't tryna hear you on my telly, yo. Play with me, I'm knocking like a stereo. Play with me, I'm knocking like a stereo.
Anybody for a bitch I know all my haters on a first name basis. I'm the type to steal the flows from. Whoa, they the type to want my income. I think that I've had enough of jealousy and entertaining. No, I'm never giving up. I'ma start this in the making. No, I'm never giving up. I'ma start this in the making.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, thought they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream. Every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But you guys know that it's not 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 1:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. We got an FOMC meeting today as we are going to be expecting some crazy volatility on the charts. Although the past few meetings may not have done that. But, we may be able to see some kind of volatility. Hopefully we see some candles moving here during this live stream. We're going to be taking a look at the charts, guys. I will be doing a little bit of a market update to give you guys an idea of what I'm looking at on price, key levels. We'll take a look at market cipher B. Where's that money flow going? And we'll take a look at Lux Algo as well. I'll give you guys my general thoughts on where I think the market is going. Right now, I am not really in any trades. I am in some swing longs for much lower. So those are really the only positions that I'm still holding right now. I'm out of all my scalps. I'm out of all my day trades as we are going to see a lot of volatility hopefully here. This is a very dangerous thing to trade, guys. So please do not, if you are out there trading, please understand this is very risky. There's going to be likely high volatility. If we do get a move, the moves will probably be aggressive, kind of unpredictable. So use a stop loss. Do not get wrecked out there. Typically, I don't even really trade on FOMC days. I kind of just sit the day, take the day off of trading just to kind of protect myself because as you guys know, we only like to take the highest probability trades. So we're going to be doing the market update. We'll take a look at the live stream. We'll take a poll. I'll see what you guys want to see. If you guys want me to pull up the live stream, I will. Typically, we just start to fall asleep when he starts talking, so maybe we'll just keep our eye on the charts, and then maybe we'll have the live stream on in the background just to try to figure out what's going on. Obviously, a change in policy is not expected here, so may kind of be a lackluster thing here. So kind of what I'm predicting for those of you who are curious, I'm expecting no chains and maybe a little bit of a hawkish tone during the actual press conference. But we'll see what happens, guys. Hopefully we get a little bit more action than we have in the past few FOMC meetings. But before we get into it, guys, don't forget to smash that like button. Every 100 likes we get on the stream will give you guys more chances to win some free crypto. And don't forget, guys, we are still giving away 0.02 Bitcoin on Friday's live stream. Get in that free Discord. Go to the giveaway section and click that participate button if you want a chance to win. And with all that being said, let's say what's up to the Mafia real quick, and then let's go ahead and pull up those charts. Shout out to Bad Axe in the chat. We got 12 big. What is going on? He said we will end up in the same spot we started. Probably 12 big, probably. I would probably agree with you. We got Date B in the chat. DJ Sunny, what is going on? I think that says C Satellite 23 says 100x good idea if you hit the call right. Yeah, yeah. If you nail it, I mean, you might wind up making a big move, but highly, highly risky. But let's see. Shout out to Mr. G in the chat. We get Cuz I Can Bump It. What is going on, Crypto Killer Whale? As always, good to see you. Gen X D-Gen, what is going on, brother? And shout out to Gen Z if you're out there. I heard you got like timed out in the chat, but I think you're back, bro. But if I don't see you pop up here soon, I'm gonna have to go into the back end of YouTube and unban you. But shout out to you guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Jay Long in the chat said, I'm back. I missed you, Frankie. Shout out to Jay Long. Welcome back. Good to see you, brother. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Here we go. So, guys, here we are. First off, like I said, I want to do a little bit of a market update, give you guys an idea of the levels that I'm looking at. Now, if you saw the live stream yesterday, you will have a pretty good idea of what I'm watching. But I do want to do a quick market update, and maybe, just maybe, we will look at some of the altcoins as well. So obviously, guys, we did get a pretty significant move down yesterday, and we did come down to some pretty key levels. I'm actually going to label this one because for some reason it's not labeled anymore. But simply put here, guys, this is now the range that we are trading in. Right now, when I say range, really what I mean to say is volume profile, because technically, I guess if you were looking at this as a range, this would be your low and this would be your high. However, we do have this volume profile that we've been watching, pulled all the way from the top of the bull market back here. We just extrapolated those levels to the right, and you can see they are getting respected pretty well. So these are kind of the main levels. And why is this value area low not labeled as well? But you have your value area high sitting here at about 65K. Your value area low coming in at about $60,140, and then your POC coming in right here at about 61K. And if you guys remember back to the other live streams, last week, there are some key levels here. We're actually holding the key level that we were looking at on last week's live stream. I think I have since deleted all the TA because I updated the chart. But we did have some key levels down here, right? We have the POC, the range. I believe we also had the 786 retracement down here as well, which you guys can see these on the higher time frames, right? On the lower time frames, this wasn't as obvious. But you can see here, this was kind of the $62,000 zone is starting to hold as support here. And we came down, we wicked below, tapped that POC, started closing those candles above the 786, and we are starting to see a bounce. Now, as you guys know, I am, until we break out of this value area high, it is potentially possible to get a little bit of a bigger move down here, closer to about $60,000 to $59,000. And we talked last night about why the lows of this range are so important, right? When we pull up the VPVR, you guys can see there really is not much below us other than this high volume node at 57K. Other than this, there's really not much below us until we get into the 50,000s, right? Like 54K, you are 54.4, you have this value area high. But really the next significant level, guys, in my own personal opinion, is going to be down here at $51,800. So we have to be careful. We lose these range lows, things could get pretty exciting if you're looking for price to go down, right? Things could get moving pretty quickly to the downside. So, key levels all basically remaining the same. These are going to be the levels we'll watch throughout the meeting here. And just to be clear, if we do come back down here, guys, going to be looking at that value area low and this key level down here at $59,088 for a potential bounce. But if we do wind up coming up, we have to realize that we do still have some of this money flow cruising to the downside on the higher time frames. 8-hour money flow coming out, 6-hour money flow coming out as well. Your 5-hour money flow is now crossed over into the red. VWAP starting to roll over here a little bit. But yeah, that is basically what we're looking at. Because of this money flow crossing over into the red, guys, we have to be at least open to the idea that we could see a sustained downtrend, right? So for that reason, we always say this, when the money flow is crossing over into the red, especially on these medium to higher hourly time frames, when you see money flow coming out like this, oftentimes it means, remember, the money flow indicates the longer term trend. So when you see that money flow cross over into the red, you are going to be anticipating any of these bounces to the upside to more likely give you a lower high before continuing back to the downside. So if we do wind up getting something like that, where this money flow is indeed going to cross over into the red, and it's not just going to fake us out and come all the way back into the green, assuming that this is going to play out, we have to be aware of the resistances above where we could potentially look for short positions. And basically what I'll be looking at, guys, is the context of this upper range, right? We broke down out of the range. We came and retested the previous point of control of the old range. Now we're getting a bounce. So the areas that I think, in my own personal opinion, are the highest likelihood or have the highest likelihood of giving us a lower high and a rejection to the downside would be, number one, the value area low. Now, I will say this. It does look like maybe we could get above this, right? So let's assume that if we are not, this is a key level to watch, right? Value area low of the previous range. However, if we do not reject from here, we're going to come up a little bit higher, and the key levels that I will be watching are going to be the confluence that we have between not only the Fib and the POC here, right? The Fibonacci retracement level coming in with beautiful confluence of that 786 endpoint of control here at about 67,189. This could be a potential zone to put in a lower high, and then when we pull to this next wick up here, you can see you also have pretty good confluence on your golden pocket and your POC. So this is, this general zone around that POC and these Fib levels is going to be like a pretty significant zone where we could potentially put in a lower high if we are going to see that money flow. If we are going to continue to see that money flow cross into the red and it is going to give us a bigger downtrend, we can look for potential rejections in this area. Now, at the point of, if we do come up here and we break above the POC, and more specifically the 786, which is sitting at 68,573, if we get above that 786, I will be looking up towards that value area high, being that once you're, number one, above that POC, you are expecting that value area high to come in, but you have to get above that 786 as well, right? Because we could easily kind of bing bong up here, get above the POC briefly, and then reject the 786. So really the key level I'm watching here is that 786. Flip this to support. I'm looking up towards the value area high, which also has pretty beautiful confluence with the 786 for another zone of resistance to watch. So these are the two major zones, guys. If we are going to get a move to the upside before if that move up, right? If we get a move up and that move up is just to put in a lower high, I will be looking for rejections at this level or at this level. These are the two major levels of resistance. We looked at these on the live stream last night, so it shouldn't be too unfamiliar with you. And then if that move down does actually happen, we are simply going to be, let me pull up the local TA. We are simply going to be looking below us for context to expect to try to anticipate where price will go next, right? So if we do come up, bada boom, let's say we reject the POC golden pocket 786, and then we come down here, we're going to be looking for the value area low for our next key level of support, right? So this is our map to the upside, and then this is our map to the downside, right? So just two simple value areas. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, Frankie, why are you not expecting to get above this value area high and just look to long that up to the, get above this value area low? Why are you not just looking to long that up to the value area high? Now, you could potentially argue that that is a valid trade. The reason I am being very cautious for the lower highs to come in is simply based off money flow coming to the downside on Market Cipher B. This is another thing. This is one of the main things, or one of the big things we were looking at when we were putting this bearish divergence up as we deviated above the volume profile. We looked for that bearish confirmation to ride back into the range and go down to the low. But our money flow is coming out here. So, typically, why was I confident that, this was a pretty significant sign of weakness to come down into the range and come back down to the low? It had a lot to do with the money flow, right? The money flow was coming out. So, it doesn't mean that you can't get above this value area low and come to the high. This would be a valid trade in my opinion. I mean, hey, there's people out there who trade the volume profile without even looking at Market Cipher B, right? So, but for me, I use Market Cipher B every single day. So, that's why I'm not looking to, just necessarily expected to be as highly likely to come up to that value area high. So just keep that in mind. So with that being said, if the money flow was coming up here, right? Like if it was, if we had a, let's just say we had a range and money flow was coming up like this, about to cross into the green, it would be a very high likelihood of coming up to the value area high, and in my opinion, break the highs. But that's just not the situation that we're in right now. So we have to be cautious. So not impossible to get to the high and then, come up to new highs, but money flow would say something different. Now, one of the bullish cases here, I will kind of cover a bullish case, right? Because if we pull up the local again, remember what I've been saying. I mean, we've said this on the live stream all the time, but more recently, we've been kind of paying more attention to this and talking about this more often. And that is that oftentimes when you break down out of a volume profile, which we have right up here, once you break down below these, oftentimes, if you are going to break down out of that range and then get accepted into the new one and break the highs here, oftentimes you will break out of that range and go retest the point of control of the previous range, which is down here. And what did we do yesterday? Simply put, we broke down out of our range, came down, tested that POC, and sometimes we can see strong moves off that level, right? But we're level-to-level traders, so it doesn't matter if we come up or down. We're going to capitalize on it either way. I mean, maybe not right now, just because I don't typically trade FOMC meetings, but this is basically what I'm going to be looking at, right? And on top of that, although I would say market cipher B is for the most part pointing to the downside over time, right? Indicating that the trend will likely continue down, but if we take a look at some of these higher time frames, come on, market cipher B, the VWAPs are coming up, right? This is what is kind of making me anticipate a potential bounce into these resistance levels, because we have a green dot looking to print on the 12-hour, the 16-hour, and the daily. Not quite there yet, but it is kind of meandering around below the 0 line here, so it is kind of trying to curve up a little further away, but that 12 and 16-hour green dot are looking to print, and that 12-hour, 10-hour green dot is printing right now. So, if I had to make a Excuse me, this is not a great time to make a random guess on the market, as we have the meeting about to start here, or the decision about to be made. But, sorry guys, the bat phone is going off here. But, if we do, it's not impossible to see a bounce first. But again, because of the direction of money flow, I'm not anticipating this to just fly us up to all-time highs again because of the money flow. So this would anticipate, again, a lackluster bounce into a level of resistance to put in a lower high and then eventually break the lows. Very similar, again, to what we were looking at the other day on the live stream. What happened here, right? Simply put, we had the green dot on the 4-hour. We were looking for the bounce, but I closed my scalp long right here because money flow was coming out. So I wasn't anticipating this to come up and break the new all-time highs. I was expecting to put in a lower high and then break the current low, which is exactly what we saw yesterday. So same kind of scenario right now with the added volatility of the FOMC meeting. So who knows? This might just completely break and we might just melt down to nothing and then just yeet back up and then melt back down and then yeet back up. Sometimes that happens, but lately the FOMC meetings have been a little bit lackluster on excitement. So with all that being said, let's see. Shout out to Jacko24, says fake out, shake out. Let's go. Obviously, guys, the FOMC meetings, we're already starting to see a little bit of volatility here. It is very likely to see the longs and the shorts get wrecked here. So let's keep that in mind. And real quick, guys, I had to renew my High Block Capital account. I was not able to pull up the heat maps yesterday. I was like, what is going on? Why is this not working? And then I found out that the subscription expired. I had to make a new one. But now we do have the heat maps back up and lit up. Let's go ahead and I'm going to pull that 1-month heat map here just to kind of show you guys where the significant liquidity is, which could potentially point to some magnets in the market, so to say. So you guys can see here, obviously, if we kind of just zoom in on this local price action, you guys can see we do have a significant amount of liquidity above these highs here at $74,000, between 74 and 75K. Now, obviously, we are pretty far away from this, but you never know what's going to happen on an FOMC meeting. So if we do wind up creeping back up here, it is worth noting that we do have a bit of liquidity sitting above these highs, which, again, not only will act as a magnet for price, but will also likely act as not resistance necessarily, but as I always say, when you approach these liquidation levels, once you start stopping out and liquidating these people, you likely will see a big spike to the upside, but what I like to do is counter trade those where you see those big liquidations to the upside. We know the shorts that are short from up here or, within this move down, all those shorts getting wrecked could indicate a big reversal in the market, right? Oftentimes they'll get liquidated, you will get that big wick to the upside, and then it comes back down, and then you get a big dump to come in. So that is kind of what I'll be looking at here. Oftentimes you will see swing failure patterns occur in these high liquidity areas, and what I like to do is look at the order flow to kind of try to confirm whether we are seeing legitimate buying pressure coming into the market, pushing price higher, or if we are simply just seeing the shorts get wrecked, because if you see those shorts get wrecked, oftentimes that will just cause that big spike up, and then you'll get that swing failure pattern, and then a big saucy move to the downside. So you do have, that's like kind of the most important or most significant level of liquidity that I can see right now. We do have some local liquidity down here as well. However, it's not as concentrated as it is up here. And the reason this is so hot up here is because not only are people short from up here, but all these people shorting these lower highs. Like if you were short from this high right here, where is your stop loss going to go? Likely you're going to set it above that previous swing high, which would be right here, which again is what is developing all this liquidity up here. So keep that in mind. Again, very far away, but if we approach it, it is going to be worth it to know that we do indeed have a lot of assumed liquidity up there. These are not guaranteed liquidation levels. These are somewhat assumed. So there you go. Okay, and then let me just pull up the 3-month as well, because we could look at some of the lower prices or just kind of more of the macro liquidity. And let's see here, right? So and like I said, guys, when we were just looking at the candlestick chart, like I said, right, the next significant area of support really doesn't come in until this like $51,000 level, which obviously lines up with this cluster of consolidation, right? So like you could kind of say, we always talk about this. Quick moves up oftentimes lead to quick moves down. So if we start losing this range, you could see a quick move down. And then about, sitting here at about 51.8, 51.7 is kind of the next key strong level of support. Even when you look at the VPVR, it's obviously very, very obvious that you have a strong level here. However, when you pull back up the liquidation heat map right here, right, about 50,000, you do have a lot of liquidity sitting below. So what does this mean? It means that if we were to get some kind of insane dump to the downside down to that $50,000 level, right, let's say we get a big move down, you have a lot of liquidity sitting below this range, right? So if you were to extrapolate this range to the right, I'm not going to change the color, but let's just say you extrapolate that range to the right and you come in and you start bing-bonging around this range, you could potentially look for a slip of that range to go scoop that liquidity before getting a big move back to the upside. So this is really, really far away. I don't anticipate to come back down here today, but you never know what could happen. A lot of people thought we were just going to keep going up, and here we are sitting below 65K. So there you go. Those are the key levels. Those are the key kind of liquidation spots that I am looking at. And some of the key levels, right? If we get this volatility to come in, we got to be ready with those key levels to look for the bounces. All right, let's go ahead and check in on chat real quick. Let's see. Hoping for a rate reduction. My general thought is that probably nothing's going to happen, right? Maybe a little bit of a hawkish tone, which would obviously be bearish, but I don't, I'm not anticipating really a change, but we'll see what happens. These things are, I forget the website, but you can like look at like the general consensus as like what most people think is going to happen is usually what happens. It's and most people think that, nothing is going to change. So, all right, let's see. Shout out to Uncle Vinny. Shout out to Uncle Vinny. Said, Frankie, can you put out notifications before your show starts? I have the bell turned on for you, but I still don't get a pop-up for when your shows are starting up. Shout out to Uncle Vinny. That's pretty messed up. YouTube's doing us dirty? What is going on? Don't forget to click that notification bell, guys. But yeah, shout out to Uncle Vinny. We do drop alerts in the free Discord. If you're in any of our Discords or anything, we do drop notifications anytime I go live. But yeah, I was going to tell you to turn the notification bell on, but seems like you did that, and YouTube is just rugging us on that. Interesting. Elite Ways said switch your settings to all notifications. So there you go. Elite Ways, that might have just answered the question. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Mike Vito says, doesn't matter what Powell says, he cannot repair the damage already done. I don't want to agree with you, but I mean, it's kind of hard to argue. Kind of hard to not agree with that, Michael. So shout out to Mike Vito, my paisan. Yeah, very, very good point. But let's see. I have the same exact amount of money in my. Shout out to Stephen Atwell. I think you might be talking to somebody in chat. Shout out to, Chorizo says, I don't get notifications with the bell on either. I do get the Discord one, though. Interesting. I guess you might have to change some of the settings in YouTube, maybe. That is interesting. But let's see. Shout out to Chemistry Bro, dropping a little bit of knowledge here. I appreciate you, bro. He says, the prediction on number of rate cuts to possibly come this year will be the thing to listen out for. Will set the landscape of financial conditions for the rest of the year. Yeah, shout out to Chemistry Bro. Thank you for dropping that. Yeah, I don't know. It is going to be hard, right? And what time is it? It's almost time. But I don't know. Do you guys want me to pull up the meeting, or do you just want to watch these candles go crazy? Let me know. We could do either. I just feel like every time we pull up the live stream, it's just like I'm sitting here falling asleep. Everybody else is falling asleep. And the past few times, the candles have not even really moved too much. So, or do you guys just want to like keep an eye on the charts and just watch the absolute insanity happen? Because as you guys know, I really just trade the charts, right? Like we're not going to hear, if we were looking at price moving, like we're not going to be like, oh, I heard him say something, it's going to dump. You could try to do that, but, chances are the signs are going to be on the charts. All right, let's see. Pull up the meeting, and you comment on the side as he's talking. Shout out to Marshall Section. Shout out to you. Little bit of both. Okay, yeah, we could do that. Ariane Frankie. Shout out to Eric. Meeting is boring, and people use too many words. I think that's what that says. Yeah, people using too many words. It's always waiting for the reporters and Powell's replies that moves the market and waiting for the dust to settle. Yeah, Sean, that's basically how I handle things, right? Like I just watch the craziness. Like we'll live stream the actual meeting or whatever, or the press conference, and then we just basically sit here, watch the candles, and we just sit here and listen to him talk, and it's like, whatever. What's my BTC? Shout out to Ryan Schultz. What is going on, bro? Good to see you. Says, Frankie, what is your BTC top prediction? 73,000 and... My top prediction is, or was, $73,951. I think the top is in. I'm just kidding, guys. But yeah, no, I mean, just in general, I mean, I'm not going to pull up all the charts and stuff. I have a lot of charts that we go over on the live stream. But my top prediction, at least as of right now, obviously, if we get up there and things are still looking, if we get up to my prediction and things are still looking like insanely bullish on the charts, we could look higher. But as of right now, I am looking between, at the end of, going into 2025 between $150,000 and $200,000. It's crazy. Like I think a lot of people think that's like a super low estimate, which maybe it is. But obviously, I think Bitcoin is going to soar over the years. I think we will hit $1 million Bitcoin at some point. I just don't think that'll happen in 2025. In 2025, I'm looking anywhere between $150,000 and $200,000. But again, like we might hit 100K, see some massive bearish signals. We can get black swan events. We're always getting not only new information on the charts, but just new information in the actual, in the world, right? Like we never know what's going to happen. So, we always assess price as we approach those targets. But for me, I will be looking up between $150,000 and $200,000. All right, let's see. Ryan Schultz says, I keep seeing people say 120K top. I wouldn't really go against that, to be quite honest with you. Like me personally, let's get to 100K, assess the situation, and then see where we can go from there, right? I can just pull up a chart here real quick. Oh, God, am I going to be able to find it is the question. Let me go ahead and see. Okay, yeah, so here it is. So for me, right, like, we have some Fibonacci extension levels that we can be looking at, but I believe is this the 3618? Yeah, so the 3618 is sitting at about $96,000. Now, the thing to realize here is, just because we got to the 3618 this cycle, right? Meaning, if I pull up the weekly time frame, if we take a look here, the 2021 top came in just about at the 3618, right? So if I pull from the high of the 2017 top to the bear market low, and let me turn off some of these spider lines. So let me turn off some of this other stuff so it's not completely cluttered here. But you could see here that when you pull from the high to the low of the 2017 and 2018 bear market, the 3618 is where the 2021 Bitcoin top came in. Now, just because we hit the 3618 here does not mean we'll hit the 3618, or even, it doesn't mean we won't pass it either in this next cycle. But that is sitting, right? So if we're assuming, we hit the 3618 here, that was at 69K. But, when you pull that same fib on the current price action, right, that 3618, whoops, I'm going to have to fix that real quick. That is coming in at about, bear with me. Why is this different? Let me pull up the level so I know what I'm looking at. Okay, yeah, so the 3618 of this entire pull to the downside is sitting at 200K, right? 209,000 to be exact. So this is kind of the highest that I am willing to look as of right now, right? Until we get more information on the chart, this is the highest I'm willing to look. Now, it doesn't mean I don't think it can go higher. But, like really main levels I'm looking at, we start hitting that 100K level, being very cautious, not necessarily calling the top here, but definitely keeping a close eye on price action. We get above that level. We get to 150. This is going to be another key level I'm looking at. You break above that. Now I'm really starting to think like, okay, likely we're getting close to the top here and that is all assuming that these cycles remain somewhat similar, right? They're not all exactly the same. They all do rhyme in some way, some form or fashion. So assuming that things are going to, remain somewhat similar to the previous cycles, that's kind of what I'm expecting. So shout out to Ryan Schultz. Hopefully that answers your question. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. Shout out to Big Bank 3. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you so much for sending that super chat. I appreciate you. He says, Frankie, can you look at the money flow on Jupe? Let's check it out. Or Jup, as some people like to call it. Let's take a look here. Let's come down to a 4-hour time frame because there's really not much to look at here on the daily, right? You have no daily money flow because it's a newer coin. But we could take a look at something like the 4-hour. Yeah, 4-hour money flow coming out. You did have that bearish divergence confirmed here as well. So I will just give some quick little insight here on Jupe, some unwarranted or unasked for TA. I guess you did ask to look at the money flow, but I'll give you some levels as well. Really what I would be looking at here on Jupe is going to be this volume profile right about here. Right, this is our previous range. Come on, load. There we go. So what I would be looking at here is if you do get a pump up based off money flow, right? Money flow is coming out, indicating the trend may continue to the downside. So for that reason, I would be looking at, come on, where do I want to pull this to? I guess I'll pull it to right here before we actually broke that previous low. Come on, do something, TradingView. Load, why do you not work anymore? They're trying to take the volume profiles away from me, Mafia. Come on, just work. I got to clear my cache on TradingView, I think. Come on, load. All right, well, I don't know if that's going to work. Pause confirmed. All right, well, shout out to Tony D. Let's see. Are we getting crazy volatility? Oh, God, here we go. Here we go. We may not get moves here, guys. I really don't have maybe we will get a move, right? Because I'm not really anticipating anything crazy because the other meetings have been boring. So maybe this will be the one that proves us wrong and we get a massive shot to the upside or something. But real quick, I do want to cover this Jupe real quick. Hopefully, I will keep an eye on Bitcoin here. Coming in at $64,564. But really what I would be looking at here on Jupe would be, very similar to what I was looking at on Bitcoin. Because our money flow is coming out, we could anticipate any bounces to the upside to be somewhat lackluster to continue the trend to the downside. And let me just change the settings on this real quick, just the golden pocket. So you have some pretty similar levels here. You have your POC golden pocket confluence, right? And then your value area high confluence with your more macro fib pull here with the golden pocket. So these will be two significant levels I would look for. And if that money flow isn't going to cross back into the green, and we are indeed going to continue into a bigger red money flow wave here, if I can get it to load up for once. Come on, TradingView. Oh, good Lord, this is brutal. But if you did push up here, these are kind of the two levels that you can look at for rejections, right? Because even your 4-hour is starting to trend to the downside with that confirmed bear div, could give you a sustained trend to the downside. So we may do a little something like this, where you come up, go to put in a more of a macro lower high at this level, or even that golden pocket. So there you go. That is kind of what I would look at on Jupe. Money flow kind of trending down. Nothing really too aggressive, though, to be quite honest with you. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. Let's see. Shout out to Chemistry Bro. Said info. There will be shout out to Chemistry Bro. Let's go. He said there will be a second Jupe airdrop on January 25th. So any Solana DEX swapping you do should be on Jupe to qualify for their next airdrop. Shout out to Chemistry Bro. Great information. Dropping gems in the chat for the Mafia. Let's go. Remains the same at 5.50. Not too, so there you go. It's literally like 99.9% of the time. What people think will happen is typically what will happen. Like the projections are almost always correct, which is, pretty interesting. But a lot of the volatility happens when the reporters ask Mr. Powell the questions. So we'll have to see We'll have to see what happens. Yeah, shout out to Ritz Beast Gaming says, is it bullish or bearish? To be honest, I am kind of waiting for the press conference to kind of hear if there's a hawkish tone. I feel like there might be. They might be looking to push out the cuts a little bit longer than people anticipate because inflation is a lot higher or a little bit higher than people were hoping for or they were hoping for. So I wouldn't be surprised if they start giving a little bit of a hawkish tone in the press conference, but we'll have to see. But yeah, as of right now, like really nothing too crazy happening. A little pump to the upside. Like I said, that volatility really starts kicking off when they do the press conference. But yeah, just kind of approaching that value area high, which is interesting, right? Because again, if we do wind up getting, I'm going to get rid of these resistance levels real quick, guys, just to clean up the chart a bit here. The interesting thing here is, guys, that is we have our value area high here that is almost in perfect confluence with this value area low. So although we'd be looking at this value area high as key resistance, we have to be careful because this range low could be, right? What do we usually call these value area lows? Oftentimes they're the doorway to higher prices, right? So, it is a little bit confusing right now because if we pop above here, are we deviating, right? Are we deviating above this volume profile to then get accepted back in and then finally go down to the value area low? Or are we getting accepted back into this upper range, and are we going to get a move back to the upside? Now, like I said, money flow on Market Cipher B would really be pointing more towards, even if you came up to the POC or the value area high, it would be looking, it would be kind of pointing for a lower high to continue the downtrend, right? So, that's why I am being very cautious on these levels of resistance that I just brought up because, again, money flow. Money flow is very, very rarely wrong. So there you go. All right, let's see. S&P is pumping like crazy. Oh, I mean, why does this not just leak right into Bitcoin anymore? They used to be so much more tightly correlated here. But yeah, okay, we're getting a little bit of a pump ski. I'll be honest. I really hope that we pump up to around 69K because I would love to look for a scalp short position up there. But we'll have to see what happens. Let's check the order flow real quick. Let's come up to the 30-minute. We'll check some key levels here on the TPO profiles. Let's see. How is DXY going? Yeah, guys, this is something I meant to bring up on the live stream last night, but I forgot. DXY is absolutely dumping. But here's the thing. This is what has me a little bit worried about the DXY. And I did show this in a show recently that we did. But coming up here to the weekly on the DXY, guys, like this green dot so tight to the zero line here with money flow about to cross over into the green on the DXY. This is something that I am hoping, for the sake of Bitcoin and crypto, I am hoping this is a fake out, right? Because if this crosses into the green, we may get some kind of unexpected dump on Bitcoin. Because when you have a green dot like this on Market Cipher with money flow curving to the upside about to cross into the green as well at the same exact time, this typically means that you are going to get a move up, right? Now, if that were to happen, traditionally what happens is Bitcoin will nuke, right? Like if the DXY just starts ripping, Bitcoin will absolutely dump. So this is a little bit concerning. This weekly on the DXY has me a little bit worried. Now, the thing is, you have to be careful, right? Because these higher time frames, like this, if this is going to fake out back into the red, which would mean there's really not much to worry about on Bitcoin, in my opinion. But this fake out to kind of work itself out is going to take a bunch of time, right? We're likely not just going to, come above here and then, it's going to take a long time. So by the time we fake out, I'm not making any decisions based off this, but this is something I'm looking at for my longer-term analysis for Bitcoin. Because if we start closing weekly candles as we keep coming up into the green, that's likely going to mean that we could get some kind of unexpected dump on Bitcoin. And I'll just say this. If that dump on Bitcoin is due to a black swan event because of this, you can literally predict history while looking at the DX. You could literally predict black swan events. Has not predict the movement in the chart, but literally predict black swan events by looking at money flow on Market Cipher B. And I will make a video about it if we do have a black swan event. I hope I don't jinx myself here. But yeah, if there's a black swan event, I will make a video how we predicted whatever the event was. And it will be all about this money flow. Because this is not typically what we see at this point in the cycle, right? Typically what we see at this point in the cycle for the DXY is what you would expect to see, right? Which is essentially, I don't know why these backgrounds are different. But what we'd be expecting here is if we come up to the weekly on both of these, right? Actually, I pull up money flow as well, right? So money flow crosses over into the red, right? This was happening in June of 2020, right? Money flow comes into the red, and let me zoom out here so you guys can see what is going on. So you can see my cursor on both screens here. Money flow crosses over into the red. The DXY absolutely dumps, and it is the bull run of 2021. So this is what we want to see for a crypto bull run, right? We want that money flow to come out. Right now, that is not what we're seeing, right? Money flow comes out. Bitcoin goes on a big bull run, right? And then when the DXY crosses back into the green with money flow, hopefully you guys, am I covering this? Let me remove my my camera here real quick. But you could see here, right? Money flow crossed into the red, right? We came down into a nice green wave. Now look up here on Bitcoin, right? We cross into the red on DXY, and boom. Bitcoin is getting that big run up on the 2021 bull run. And then right here, when the DXY crosses back over into the green, obviously the DXY takes a huge move to the upside. But look at Bitcoin, right? As the DXY runs up and that money flow comes into the green, Bitcoin absolutely dumps, right? So what we want to see here is money flow on the DXY continuing down. But that is simply not what we have going on, right? We literally have money flow flying to the upside right now, like almost in a hurry, like almost like it was like coming out and then it was like, actually, we're going to go one more time. We're going to go up one more time. So this is somewhat alarming to me on the DXY, but we have to wait for this to confirm. We have to wait for this to settle. It could take time. But just like you heard it here first. If something happens, this is a little bit sus to me. All right, let's continue on here. Let's see. Shout out to Chemistry Bro, said Benjamin Cowan. Shout out to Benjamin Cowan. Says just tweeted. I know a lot of you guys probably already follow him. He's got a ton of subscribers, but I recommend you guys follow Ben. He's got like just a straight information based approach, which I absolutely love. It's like no emotion, no opinion, just simply data. That is literally the way I like to do things. So I couldn't recommend his stuff more. Please go check him out. He also covers a lot of macroeconomic stuff, which is obviously good to keep an eye on. Shout out to Ben Cowan. We've been to his parties in Bitcoin Miami. They are absolutely fire. But anyway, Ben Cowan just tweeted saying that it looks like the Fed is still considering 3 rate cuts this year, according to the dot plot from the summary of economic projections. Bullish for 3 cuts. Interesting, Chem Bro. Yo, Chemistry Bro is like a reporter on the streets. I love this. It's like he's our mafia reporter out there getting like hot tweets and hot news on the spot. Shout out to Chemistry Bro. I love this, bro. Okay. Yo, shout out to Jay Gilly. He said money flow has diarrhea and rushing to the bathroom. Unbelievable. Shout out to Jay Gilly. Let's see. Shout out to Feeding the 5,000 says, why does my market cipher look different? Your market, it's either for 2 reasons, right? These are probably, one of these reasons is 100% the reason. Number 1 is you may have, I just changed my colors, right? So this is market cipher. All my settings are the same except for the colors. I just changed the colors to match my chart and branding of the channel. But, so you might have a green and red money flow instead of blue and purple. But if that is not what is different, it might be because you do not have the actual market cipher. You have a clone. And I say this all the time. Clone indicators, although not useless, they are not exactly the same. Money flow specifically is the thing that is different, and this is something I put a lot of weight on. Like I said, doesn't make the other indicator completely useless by any means, but that's why it looks different, right? It's probably just not if you didn't pay for it, then you probably have the fake one. But if you want to save money on the real one, go ahead and check that link in the description. If you don't have a budget for any kind of paid indicator, like I said, the one that you might be using that might be fake or a clone, right? Not necessarily completely useless. So just keep that in mind. And even if you couldn't use any of that, just understand there's all the information that you need can be available on free indicators, right? You don't need premium indicators to make money trading. So just keep that in mind. I know a lot of people probably get bent out of shape like, in order for me to make money, I need this indicator. I need Lux Algo. I need Market Cipher. When this is not the case. This is not what makes a profitable trader. If you took all my indicators away from me, I will still be able to trade. So just keep that in mind. I don't, especially if you're just starting out, don't harp too much on the paid indicators. For me, I love the way that Market Cipher and Lux Algo display their information. It just makes it easier to digest. All right, let's see. Chemistry Bro says market ciphers he said money flow is off on all market cipher copies, but momentum waves and dots are pretty accurate. Yeah, shout out Cameron. That's kind of the experience that I've seen. All right, let's see. Best free indicator show. All right, well, shout out to Helionics. I will say this, shameless shill, even though it's not really a shill. I mean, can you shill something that you don't like really benefit from? Maybe my ego benefits from it, which I don't feel like I don't really have an ego. But if you come to TradingView, best free trading indicator, and honestly, I truly do believe this. Like, I know there's a lot of great free indicators out there. Lux Algo has over 100 free indicators, and a lot of them are extremely useful. But just go ahead and type in Frankie Candles to TradingView. Frankie Candles Essentials by Lux Algo. This is by far my favorite free indicator, and I know it is a lot of the Mafia's favorite free indicator as well. Basically what this is a volume profile with a little bit of added bells and whistles, which is pretty nice, right? This is literally takes my entire trading, strategies and theories and puts them into an easy to read indicator with auto Fibonacci levels, sauce can signals. We have a video on how to exactly use these and how I actually use this indicator to enter a fire trade. But that is on the channel if you guys want to check that out. And this is 100% free. Just search my name in TradingView, Frankie Candles Essentials by Lux Algo. Click it and you can add it to your chart. It pulls up the divergences, the volume profiles, and it lets you know when a top might be significant, right? So here you deviate above your volume profile, you get a divergence. That sauce can prints a couple candles later to let you know this could be a significant top, and then at that point you are going to be looking for acceptance back into your range, back down to the POC, back down to the value area low. So it's basically the way we like to trade on this channel, but it kind of encompasses all of my TA, the Fibonacci's, the divergences, the volume profiles, etc., all encompassed into one easy to use indicator, so you don't have to worry about where you're pulling the fibs from, etc. So there you go. That's what I would say. Other than that, like, here's the thing, right? If you took all my paid indicators away, all I would need is volume profile, and what I would do if I couldn't look at Market Cipher B, I would simply look at the RSI. That is right, just the good old, plain and simple RSI right here, right? So I would look for my divergences on the RSI, and then I would use my volume profile to get my key levels. So like volume profiles, which are free on most TradingView accounts, I think you have to pay for the visible range, but the fixed range, which is what I use for for these, this is free, I believe. So volume profiles plus the RSI plus Fibonacci's is probably all I would really need. So there you go. But like I said, there is a reason I like to use Lux Algo and Market Cipher all the time. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob said, number wasn't negative either. Yeah, the interest rates stay what they are for now. Tony D says it depends on your look back setting on the indicator. I assume he's talking about the sauce can emoji. Yeah, we got a couple of questions about that with the Frankie Candles indicator. It's how come the sauce cans don't print right away? And the answer to that question is people are always like, it doesn't even print immediately. It's a fake indicator. Not true, right? The problem there is you shouldn't be trying to trade this as a signal, right? Like, you're not sitting here waiting for a sauce can to print and then shorting, right? That is not how this works. This is a confirmation signal. So if I go into bar replay mode, right, like the way I would handle this, let me update the, let me get the, come out. Bow. Okay. So here we go. Let's go ahead and repopulate the range. Come out. There we go. Why is TradingView breaking all the time now? This is very frustrating, guys. But anyway, you have this. You could see these bearish divergences potentially forming, right? You see the higher high on your price action, the lower high on your momentum waves, right? And if you don't see that, right, you can either see it, wait for it to print on the indicator, right, which needs time to identify, right? So you can see it popped up there for a minute and then disappeared. Actually, let me extend this to the right real quick because that is going to be important. Bada boom. Why is it not extending? TradingView is so... Shout out to Tony D, bro. Tony, can you look up how to clear your cache on TradingView? It's not updating. There we go. It's fine. Oh, no, because we're in bar replay mode. Either way, you're looking at this, right? And you're already seeing this divergence, right? You're finding your confirmations to look for a short here. And then as the sauce can prints, it's just completely broken right now because my TradingView cache is probably clogged like crazy. So it's just not updating at all. But, this is typically set by default, I believe, to a 3-candle delay. So at that point, right, you're seeing that divergence play out. And then when you see the sauce can pop up, it's indicating that this is likely a strong top. You're not waiting for the sauce can to print and then shorting, right? It's a confirmation signal. There is no indicator out there. There's no indicator that exists that you're going to be able to successfully just wait for a signal and then short based off the signal and make money. It just doesn't exist. Trust me, I thought they existed, but they just don't, right? I tried to look for one when I started trading too. It's impossible. I've tried everything. It just doesn't work, right? So it's just a confirmation signal. So keep that in mind. But yeah, you could, I believe this is by default set to a 3-candle look back, or a 3-candle like delay, I guess you could call it. But there you go. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the current price action here. Just completely lackluster. Just absolutely nothing happening here, which is great. This is, that's can't make it up. Just absolute bore fest right now. Let's go ahead and pull up the actual TA here. Yeah, we're just bing-bonging around the range, right? Like, in order to find any kind of excitement, hopefully it picks up here a little bit, we'd have to go down to a much lower time frame. And, get some of these, like, more local ranges going. And, like, you'd have to be looking for big moves within this little range. Other than that, I mean, pretty lackluster price action for an FOMC. All right, let's see. Shout out to Candle Daddy. What is going on, brother? Looney in the chat. What is going on, bro? Good to see you, Looney. What is going on, man? Thank you for tuning in. Trade the 30-second. Let's go. Should we go down to the 30-second? In my experience, the like second charts are they don't work really. Like, they very like, it'll work the way it's supposed to work for 5 minutes, and then it just freezes and it just stops working completely. So yeah, that's not a yeah. I never get, actually, this is, I think, the longest I've ever seen it actually work. Let's go. Shout out to Wolf, that ain't my crypto. All right, let's see. Okay, let's see. Shout out to Ty Malone. What's going on, Posty? Let's see. Price action is lame. Coinbase is still up. Yo, shout out to, absolutely. Absolutely. You know it's exciting when Coinbase breaks down. All right, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see. We'll see moves once Powell starts speaking. Yeah, so I guess we can go ahead and pull that up. Let me go ahead and I'm going to pull up my face cam here. I'm going to move some windows around. I'm going to get these headphones going so we don't have to have a bunch of echoes. Yo, shout out to Wayne C. said, I've traded the 1 minute, man. It wrecked me. Yeah, very common for even experienced traders to get chopped up on a 1 minute time frame. That's why I always tell people, like, everybody wants to be a micro scalper. I don't know why. It's really funny. Like, it's the most stressful way to trade. And like, unless you're an experienced trader and you have time to sit down at your desk all the time and like sit there all day and trade full time, most people should not be scalping the micro time frames. But yeah, if you're a professional trader and you're sitting there at your full-time job, it's a little bit different. But even then, you're much more likely to get chopped up on a low time frame because you still have to pay attention to the longer term, the high time frames. So keep that in mind. But let's see. Shout out to AA. AA Crypto Talks. What is going on, bro? He said, great energy, bud. Always great to listen to you and on live. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for the kind comment. I appreciate that. It goes further than you probably think it does. Let's see. Okay, so let me pull up the headphones here. Let me see. Let me just get the stream all queued up. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay, so here we go. Let's open it up. I'm going to mute the site. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to unmute the site, and then I'm just going to mute the actual thing. All right, so we got it running here on the side. We'll be ready for it when it comes up. Shout out to Jawad. Jawad, hopefully I said that right, said, how are you, bro? I'm doing good, bro. How you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. Love from Bangladesh. Shout out to oh, man, I don't want to I'll call you Son. I'm going to call you Son. I don't want to butcher your name. Shout out to you, man. Love from the USA. Let's get it. Okay, let's see. 15 minute, 3 minute, and 1 minute when scalping or 1 minute, 30 minute, 15 minute, I have had some success. Shout out to John Vucci. I'm a big fan of the 1, 30, and 15 minute. I also add the 4 hour onto that as well. Those are kind of my time frames that I like to look at. But let's go ahead and take a look here. We can take a look at some altcoins while we wait for this stream to start. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at Ethereum, which was also getting a little bit of a spill to the downside. So here we are, right? We came down to our high volume node was our next key level that we were looking at. And then, we got a little bit of a bounce. We slipped it, starting to get a little bit of a bounce there. But for the most part, the next target to the downside on Ethereum would be about 29.46. The next key resistance level would be sitting up here at this previous value area low / weekly naked point of control between 38.23 and 37.27. Money flow coming out pretty aggressively here on the 10 hour. So again, what does this tell me? This tells me that I may be better off looking for a lackluster bounce to the upside before putting in a lower high and then breaking the lows back down to lower prices, which could bring us, right back down to that weekly naked point of control sitting at 29.46. And that's if this is not a fake out on money flow, right? Because money flow can fake us out and then come back over into the green, especially when you're in a big bullish movement. But this is kind of the first significant pullback that we've gotten on a lot of this stuff. We haven't really seen things come down like they have recently, which is kind of nice, right? Like you need some kind of a healthy correction. You need to take out that leverage in order to continue higher, right? Like you need to have these pullbacks. Otherwise, the market's just completely imbalanced. And like it's kind of like the higher you go, the scarier it is, right? Because if you just have an asset that is just like arched out on an arm, like just boom, right? And this thing's just going up and to the right. It's like all the liquidity down here, especially in crypto, because there is a lot of leverage, right? And a lot of degenerate leverage. The amount of liquidity and the amount of liquidations left below, oftentimes, like the higher you go without clearing out the leverage, sometimes price will just come out and clear all that leverage, in some kind of huge panic dump, right? So we need those healthy pullbacks. Like that's not what you want to see in a market, right? Because that's kind of where you get those big meltdowns. What you really want to see is you don't want you want little healthy pullbacks, right? You want a little pullback as long as you're making higher lows, right? Which this technically wasn't. Nice to see a little bit of a pullback here. But if we continue down, 29.46 is the level, and then your resistance again is up here at 38.23 to 37.27. All right, let's see. Shout out to Chorizo. Absolutely. Like every bull run we've ever gone into, I'll just go back to Bitcoin real quick. Every bull run we've gone into, like there is, big pullbacks, right? Like they don't look big, but like, let's come back down to the daily, right? So we can get a little bit more of a zoomed out view, right? Like assuming, right, where are we? It's March 20th. Right, so at this point, we were already, the panic event of 2020 had already happened. But you zoom into some of this price action, measure some of these pullbacks, right? 20%, right? I didn't go all the way down to the wick, but 20%, 15%, 11%, 10%, right? These are more significant. 30%, 26%. 18%, 25%. And then this one was like the 50% correction. And then we came up for the double top / technically new all-time high, right? So you do get those. I mean, even in 2017, right, you get the big pullbacks, right? Boom, 38%. Boom, 40%. Now, obviously, they are going to be a little bit more aggressive as the market cap was much lower at this time, right? So the pullbacks are going to be bigger as well as the explosions to the upside will be bigger percentage-wise. So, like even here, right, 29%, right, even right before the top came down for a nice 23% correction. So you get these corrections along the way, right? You do need them for a healthy market. So keep that in mind. And I mean, this was pretty significant, to be quite honest, right? What do we got? 17%? I mean, that's not too bad. All right, let's see. Love from the Netherlands. Shout out to Musa. I appreciate that, bro. Thank you so much. Let's see. Shout out to AA Crypto Talk. Said, I always tune in when you... He said, he did not say I always tune in. I don't know why he said that. He said, I always wait for you to come online. I'm from India, and you do have followers gaining from India. Shout out to India. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Lavio Capitiano. What is going on, bro? Good to see you. Welcome in. Thank you for being here again. I always love seeing your face in here. But yeah, let's go ahead. If you guys want to see some altcoins, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We'll go ahead and take a quick look at them. And then, yeah, while we wait for this dang live stream. All right, so we'll start off, and let's go ahead and take a look at, let's start off with, I'll just pull them off here. Let's see. All right, Render. Shout out to George, said Ren. R-E and N-R-E-N. I think he's just saying Ren. Shout out to you, bro. We'll take a look at Ren. Not right this second, but we will take a look at Ren. This is a lower cap altcoin, guys, that I have been keeping an eye on with the premium Discord. This is something I actually don't know what I have to check in on the market cap. I don't know exactly what it is anymore. But it was at 703 million the last time I looked, I believe, if my my thing here is correct. But Ren is like a privacy play, right? So it's like something similar to like a Monero or a Zcash, something like that. But it's lower market cap, right? And we can take a look at the chart here in just a second. But let's take a quick look at Doge. I see a lot of Doges out there. All the good boys, for all the good doggies out there. But anyway, let's see here, right? So, okay, so Dogecoin, obviously, we had a nice call on Dogecoin to look for a breakout of this bear market range to come up to our next key level sitting here at 18 cents. We ripped up to 18 cents, approaching the previous value area low, sitting right here. We came up, got that beautiful rejection. So, you know, this is kind of where you would be looking to potentially, if you missed that first run up, obviously this dip would be where you would want to kind of look to potentially, you know, average in, right? I don't really own too much Dogecoin, but if I were like looking to buy into this, you know, I would not have bought on this big move up, right? I would not have been buying here. I would have waited for the move, looked for the next key level of resistance, which we had here marked out with a purple box. And although we wicked above it, we did wind up rejecting that level in the end, giving us a nice little pull to the downside. So this would be kind of where I would be looking to average in, right? You might be saying to yourself, well, Frankie, if money flow is coming out, like what if you just keep going down? Well, then I would just continue to average down, right? But let's see. Are you coming into any key levels of support? I will be honest, this daily does kind of look like it may want to give you a bounce. If that VWAP comes up on the daily here for Dogecoin, could get a nice bounce to put in a higher high here because this looks like it could set up for a nice bear div for a bigger correction. So, you know, I don't know if that's exactly what's going to happen, but, you know, right now that VWAP on the daily is not looking great. You got to get a lot closer to that zero line. But as far as support, you know, if you go from impulse to the high, you are hitting a golden pocket. You know, you could bounce here. I would much rather come down to tap that 786, though. 786 sitting at about 11 cents. The meeting is getting ready here, guys. I just saw it pop up. But the 786 sitting at 11 cents would be the next key level of support to the downside. If you break that, you're looking down towards the daily naked point of control, which is another very saucy level, in my opinion, where you also have the previous value area high of your range. So real quick, guys, we'll take a break from the altcoins real quick, and let's go ahead and take a look at this meeting here. Let's go ahead and pull it up. Here we go.
The economy has made considerable progress toward our dual mandate objectives. Inflation has eased substantially, while the labor market has remained strong. And that is very good news.
Good news.
But inflation is still too high. Ongoing progress in bringing it down is not assured, and the path forward is uncertain. We are fully committed to returning inflation to our 2% goal.
It's the key.
Restoring price stability is essential to achieve a sustainably strong labor market that benefits all. Today, the FOMC decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged and to continue to reduce our securities holdings. Our restrictive stance of monetary policy has been putting downward pressure on economic activity and inflation. As labor market tightness has eased and progress on inflation has continued, the risks to achieving our employment and inflation goals are moving into better balance. I will have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments. Recent indicators suggest that economic activity has been expanding at a solid pace. GDP growth in the fourth quarter of last year came in at 3.2%. For 2023 as a whole, GDP expanded 3.1%, bolstered by strong consumer demand as well as improving supply conditions. Activity in the housing sector was subdued over the past year, largely reflecting high mortgage rates. High interest rates also appear to have weighed on business fixed investment. In our summary of economic projections, committee participants generally expect GDP growth to slow from last year's pace, with a median projection of 2.1% this year and 2% over the next 2 years. Participants generally revised up their growth projections since December, reflecting the strength of incoming data, including data on labor supply. The labor market remains relatively tight, but supply and demand conditions continue to come into better balance. Over the past 3 months, payroll job gains averaged 265,000 jobs per month. The unemployment rate has edged up but remains low at 3.9%. Strong job creation has been accompanied by an increase in the supply of workers, reflecting increases in participation among individuals aged 25 to 54 years and a continued strong pace of immigration. Nominal wage growth has been easing and job vacancies have declined. Although the jobs to workers gap has narrowed, labor demand still exceeds the supply of available workers. FOMC participants expect the rebalancing in the labor market to continue, easing upward pressure on inflation. The median unemployment rate projection in the SEP is 4.0% at the end of this year and 4.1% at the end of next year. Inflation has eased notably over the past year, but remains above our longer-run goal of 2%. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index and other data indicate that total PCE prices rose 2.5% over the 12 months ending in February, and that excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.8%. Longer-term inflation expectations appear to remain well anchored, as reflected in a broad range of surveys of households, businesses, and forecasters, as well as from measures from financial markets.
Anna Maria,
the median
thank you for the super
projection
chat.
in the SEP for total PCE inflation falls to 2.4% this year, 2.2% next year, and 2% in 2026. The Fed's monetary policy actions are guided by our mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. My colleagues and I are acutely aware that high inflation imposes significant hardship as it erodes purchasing power, especially for those least able to meet the higher costs of essentials like food, housing, and transportation. We are strongly committed to returning inflation to our 2% objective. The committee decided at today's meeting to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 5.25% to 5.5%, and to continue the process of significantly reducing our securities holdings. As labor market tightness has eased and progress on inflation has continued, the risks to achieving our employment and inflation goals are coming into better balance. We believe that our policy rate is likely at its peak for this tightening cycle, and that, if the economy evolves broadly as expected, it will likely be appropriate to begin dialing back policy restraint at some point this year. The economic outlook is uncertain, however, and we remain highly attentive to inflation risks. We are prepared to maintain the current target range for the federal funds rate for longer, if appropriate. We know that reducing policy restraint too soon or too much could result in a reversal of the progress we have seen on inflation and ultimately require even tighter policy to get inflation back to 2%. At the same time, reducing policy restraint too late or too little could unduly weaken economic activity and employment. In considering any adjustments to the target range for the federal funds rate, the committee will carefully assess incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. The committee does not expect it will be appropriate to reduce the target range until it has gained greater confidence that inflation is moving sustainably down toward 2%. Of course, we're committed to both sides of our dual mandate, and an unexpected weakening in the labor market could also warrant a policy response. We will continue to make our decisions meeting by meeting. In our SEP, FOMC participants wrote down their individual assessments of an appropriate path for the federal funds rate based on what each participant judges to be the most likely scenario going forward. If the economy evolves as projected, the median participant projects that the appropriate level of the federal funds rate will be 4.6% at the end of this year, 3.9% at the end of 2025, and 3.1% at the end of 2026, still above the median longer-term funds rate.
Shout out to Overcome.
These projections are not a committee decision or plan. If the economy does not evolve as projected, the path for policy will adjust as appropriate to foster our maximum employment and price stability goals. Turning to our balance sheet, our securities holdings have declined by nearly $1.5 trillion since the committee began reducing our portfolio. At this meeting, we discussed issues related to slowing the pace of decline in our securities holdings.
Falling asleep here.
While we did not make any decisions today on this, the general sense of the committee is that it will be appropriate to slow the pace of runoff fairly soon, consistent with the plans we previously issued. The decision to slow the pace of runoff does not mean that our balance sheet will ultimately shrink by less than it would otherwise, but rather allows us to approach that ultimate level more gradually. In particular, slowing the pace of runoff will help ensure a smooth transition, reducing the possibility that money markets experience stress and thereby facilitating the ongoing decline in our securities holdings consistent with reaching the appropriate level of ample reserves. We remain committed to bringing inflation back down to our 2% goal and to keeping our longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Restoring price stability is essential to set the stage for achieving maximum employment and price stability.
Traders can't figure it out either.
To conclude, we understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to let this run, guys. I'm going to put it on mute. I'm going to pull it off. I will go ahead and drop this. This might be where the kind of volatility kicks back up. But taking a look here, doesn't look not even real clear signals here on the exo charts. Just kind of sitting here. Just getting bored to death here. Shout out to Cal's World. What is going on, bro? Welcome in. Thank you for tuning in, bro. What is going on? Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. But yeah, hands immediately went up. Yeah, and still there are questions. But yeah, it's God, man, this is like the last few. This is like the last few meetings that we've had. Just like nothing really that interesting has happened to price action. Probably as soon as I end this live stream, I'm sure we will either dump or rip. But shout out to KE, not Katie, but KE. Shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Says, love the content, Frankie. When you have time, can you take a look at Rune, please? Yeah, we could take a look at Rune in just a minute. But yeah, guys, I mean, it's just like another one of the Fed meetings. Like, it's just another boring, unless someone asks a real good question, looks almost like this is going to play out like all the other Fed meetings. There was a time where these things would just cause absolute insanity in the market, but recently we've been seeing delayed responses, right? Like, we get the big moves, but they don't happen during the meeting, right? Like, they'll have the meeting, right? We'll just like chill, and then eventually you'll get a big move. But like, it's just not been during the meetings lately. Let's see. Shout out to Eric. Said now time to spin what he just said. Yeah, let's take a look at the DXY because that seems to be where the action's happening right now. Yeah, DXY absolutely dumping right now. But no. And again, guys, I'll just say this real quick. Some people may look at this as, oh my God, that meeting caused a dump. Like, but to me, right, like just to show that, like, you do not need, right? Like, in my opinion, you could take all news away from me and it wouldn't really affect my trading at all, right? Like, not that I trade the DXY, but like, you just have a 4-hour bear div here. Like, you would be expecting this move down. Now, like, maybe the meeting adds a little bit of extra oomph to it, but yeah, it's just funny. It's like if I did not know this meeting was going on and I had to pick a direction here on the DXY, I would have said down, right, just based off the technicals. But yeah, this thing is dumping. But usually when we see this happen, guys, like you'll see Bitcoin just like literally do the exact opposite, which is literally not really what we're seeing, right? We're just kind of seeing Bitcoin sit flat. Like what is this? The 45 minute? Let's go to the 45 minute. Yeah, it's just like this thing just nuked and this thing is just kind of going sideways. So interesting stuff here. Interesting stuff. Caspa's pumping. Interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Caspa, let's find something exciting. All right, a little bit of a pump on Caspa. Not too bad. Actually, I would probably be more likely to take a short on this locally, though, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, you are looking to potentially form some. Yeah, Bitcoin ain't moved. Yeah, that's for sure. Super, super boring. People scared to pull the trigger on BTC, but will FOMO back in at 74K. 100%, Kembro. 100%. Well, he did say they are planning on cutting rates, but the market isn't expecting cuts at some point. The market is expecting some cuts on some at some point anyway. Yes, John Bucci, this is like a perfectly said, right? Like, really what causes the volatility on these days is when something, like a lot of times what will happen is when something unexpected happens, right? Like if they're expecting a raise and they don't get it, like that would be obviously bullish. So it's like, yeah, when they do, when what is expected happens, typically there's not much of a reaction. So yeah, although they did say that, it's like the market's like already priced into the market. The market already knows that, or is already kind of anticipating that or assuming it. Yeah. Shout out to Crypto Pollo. Said, look at all the 15-minute bear divs. I assume you're talking about. Are you talking about Caspa or Bitcoin? Crypto Pollo, let me know. But that's what I'm looking at right here. Although I don't like wonky bear divs like this, where you have a big dump down in the middle of it. But we do have some bear divs here. Now, people always ask me like, why don't you trade the high impact news, right? Well, the reason for that is, I could be looking at this, say, hey, 15-minute bear div, right? Money flow trending to the downside, VWAP on the way down. 4 hour is looking, yeah, VWAP starting to roll over on the 4 hour as well. Kind of flat, to be honest with you. But even if you had all the signals to go short here, everyone and their grandma was saying short this thing, and I guess everyone and their grandma would be indicators. If Bitcoin rips based off this news, right? If Powell says something and Bitcoin rips, these 15-minute bear divs aren't really going to mean anything. Not just 15-minute bear divs, but like any bearish signal. And this is why I don't necessarily trade news, because oftentimes, like if Powell decides to pump Bitcoin right now, like these bear divs aren't going to do anything. But are you talking about where's the Pollo said BTC? Yeah, let's check the BTC chart. Yes. So yeah, same exact thing here, right? So you have a bear div right here, got the dump, right? Now we're about to put in another higher high here, or we have put in another higher high, but this candle might put in another higher high, which will give you another drive of bearish divergence. Money flow now starting to come back up here. So like perfect example, like this would be, in my opinion, now I don't just trade based off the divergences, but if I got more signals to short at this value area high, you could look for the short. But again, like, yeah, see money flow coming up here. It's a little bit sketchy with the news going on here because things are about to get, and I'm not going to lie, guys. I get, bored, I guess you could call it. Like I get antsy to enter trades as well. I just don't act on that, right? Because like right now I'm like itching to get into a trade. But if I took a short here, right, even if it plays out and I could have made money, I'm not worried about it, right? Because again, I would be much more mad if I take a short here and then Powell says something, Bitcoin rips, and I just get stopped out. It's like I should have just like, why did I even do this, right? I can't tell you how many times I've been like, oh, you know what, fine, I'll just trade the news, and then something happens and I'm like, this is why I don't trade news. It's like I've done it so many times. It takes a while to actually not take the trades, but for sure, Crypto Pollo, 100%, 15-minute bear divs. Yeah, these are you got multiple drives here. Let's see, 30-minute bearish divergence also looking to print here somewhat soon. But this fresh money flow crossover on the 30-minute does have me suspicious of a move up. Because we also, at the same time as we were getting that 8-hour money flow crossover into the green, we also had an 8-hour green dot printing on our 8-hour on the 8-hour time frame, which I would show you if I could get this thing to load. There you go. So this is confirmed now. So yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah. I will say the charts would be locally saying, maybe something like this, right? Something up, get a little rejection, and then maybe you get another move up. So we'll have to see what happens. But pretty lackluster price action for an FOMC meeting, guys. Let's go ahead and see what the man is saying.
Chris.
Hi, Chris Rieger, Associated Press. Thank you. In the projections, there is an increase in the neutral rate, as you know, and higher rates,
Shout out to,
quarter-point higher rates projected
Pollo,
in
I'm gonna come back to
2025,
that.
20,
Great point.
26. Can you speak about what might be behind that? Is there a real sense here that the economy has perhaps changed in some way, that higher rates will be needed in the future? Thank you.
So you're right, they're pretty modest changes, but you're right, there was an uptick in the longer run rate, and also there's a 25 basis point increase in 25 and 26. In terms of are rates going to be higher in the longer run, if that's really your question, I don't think we know that. I think we think that rates were generally low during the pre-pandemic, post-global financial crisis era for reasons that are mostly, important, slow-moving, large things like demographics and productivity and that sort of thing, things that don't move quickly. But I don't think we know. I mean, my instinct would be that rates will not go back down to the very low levels that we saw, where all around the world there were long-run rates that were at or below zero in some cases. I don't see rates going back down to that level, but I think there's tremendous uncertainty around that.
Great. And just a quick follow on the projections, you also have 2.6% core inflation for the end of this year. It's already at, or you mentioned it being 2.8 in February. I mean, that doesn't sound like much disinflation at all. So are you still confident, or the last press conference you sounded pretty optimistic you would get more confidence to the end of this year. Is it right to say that this suggests you're not seeing a lot of disinflation this year compared to what we've seen 2023 and so forth?
I think that higher year-end number reflects the data we've seen so far this year, because you're now in this year. So I think that. Sorry, say your last part of your question again.
Well, just are you still optimistic that you'll get the confidence you need this year?
I think if you look at the SEP, what it says is that
poor Powell,
it is still
He's
likely
just, always under
in most people's view
so it's like
that
somebody's
we will
grandpa.
achieve that confidence and that there
Gotta
will be
feel for
rate
the
cuts.
guy.
But that's really going to depend on the incoming data. It is. The other thing is, in the second half of the year, you have some pretty low readings, so it might be harder to make progress as you move that 12-month window forward.
We have long starting to
Nonetheless,
come in here.
we're looking for data that confirm the kind of low readings that we had last year, and give us a higher degree of confidence that what we saw was really inflation moving sustainably down to 2%, toward 2%.
Gina Smilik, The New York Times. Thank you for taking our questions. Per your comment to Ann that a weakening in the labor market would be a reason to potentially cut rates, or at least a consideration in making a rate cut, would continued strength in the labor market be a reason to hold off on rate cuts? And just in general, if labor supply continued to rebound in 2024 the way it did in 2023, what would stronger hiring and possibly stronger growth mean for the path forward on policy?
Yeah, so if what we're getting is a lot of supply and a lot of demand, and that supply is actually feeding demand because workers are getting paid and they're spending, and that's, what you would have is potentially kind of what you had last year, which is a bigger economy where inflationary pressures are not increasing. In fact, they were decreasing. So you can have that if you have the continued supply side activity that we had last year, with both with supply chains and also with growth in the size of the labor force.
But so strong hiring in and of itself would not be a reason to hold off on rate cuts?
No, not all by itself, no. I mean, we saw, you saw last year, very strong hiring and inflation coming down quickly. We now have a better sense that a big part of that was supply side healing, particularly with growth in the labor force. So in and of itself, strong job growth is not a reason, for us to be concerned about inflation.
Neil.
Hi, Chair Powell. Neil Irwin with Axios. How do you assess the state of financial conditions right now, and in particular?
All right. I love what they call him, Chair Powell. I can't unhear Tom Crown saying Chair Powell. But anyway, guys, shout out to Dave Digital. Tuning in. What is going on, bro? Yeah, guys, this is pretty lackluster, at least on the price action. I'm just staring at the charts here. We are approaching some resistance here, and I will say, yeah, sitting at about, 65.2. Let's go ahead and pull up that heat map locally. 65.2. We do have a significant amount of liquidity. So this high right here, 64.8. Yeah, so let's see if we could potentially get a little bit of a draw, a little bit of a push into this liquidity. Yeah, we'll see, because we have resistance, right? And then you got these highs. Let's see, 65.2. Yeah, we'll see here. We are getting a bit of a push up here. Got our resistance. See what is going on here. I'm not going to go ahead and super walk through what I'm looking at right now, guys. I'm kind of doing this to get an idea. Yeah, so we do have some shorts getting stopped out here. Some shorts getting stopped out. Nothing really too crazy. A lot of shorts wrecked right there. Let's see. Could potentially look for this as our resistance. Also got this level. Come on. Bada boom. Yeah, so we'll see. I would be careful of a rejection at these levels. We know we have the liquidity sitting there. Right? Liquidity sitting between about 64.9, which I guess, hang on. Because this, let me update this real quick. Zoom on in. Yeah, so you guys can see we are pushing up into this liquidity. Yeah, 65.225. All the way up to about 65.6. 65.7. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens here. Money flow crossing into the green on the 24-minute and the 30-minute. This money flow crossover would indicate more upside. Let's see. Shout out to Tony D. Said, everybody, please watch our 3 p.m. video pinned above. Yeah, guys, go check that out after the live stream. 80K by the halving. Let's go. Shout out to Chemistry, bro. But yeah, guys, go check out that video at 3 p.m. We will be dropping it. We're going to probably wrap up here in just a bit. I just want to see what happens here on this. SPY is slowing down. Yeah, because we do have local reasons to potentially look for a bit of a rejection at these levels. But yeah, okay, looking strong, looking strong. We want to see a lot of liquidations come in is what I want to see. Let's check that 5-minute. Let's see. Shout out to AA Crypto Talk. Said, great. I would love to meet you when I'm in the USA. Shout out to AA Crypto. I appreciate you, bro. I would like to meet you as well. Let us know when you're out in the USA. Let us know. We're in the ATL. Hit us up, brother. Yeah, shout out to Surgeon. Said video set to private. It comes out at 3 p.m. All right, let's see. So we do have some single prints here. We do have some single prints. See what happens. A little bit more volatility now. Little bit extra volatility. Come on, baby. Give us something. Give us something. Come on. Come on. Wreck the shorts. Wreck the shorts. Yeah, longs are coming in a little bit, but the shorts are getting stepped on a bit here. Let's see. Are we going to fill? Are these single prints going to act as support, or are we just going to fill them to the downside? Let's see. Yeah, this will be our next key level. 65,790. Yeah, we do have a. If we are going to reject here, guys, right? I would look for a flush of the liquidity above locally and then acceptance back into this range to come lower. I don't know if that's likely as of right now, especially with the meeting going on right now or the press conference going on right now. We can't for sure say if that's going to happen. But, We'll have to see if we do break out and come above. Again, for me, guys, for the most part, my longer term, like my main trades, I'm waiting for higher, right? Like if I were to take a local short based off this little setup I have here, I'm not looking to hold this down to zero, right? Like this is just more of a local kind of scalp trade. You know, I'll be in and out of this pretty quickly. For the major short position, I would much rather come back up into this older range above us, right? Because, you know, like, why am I being careful with this short? Well, part of the reason is, you know, if we come back down here to about 64,578, you know, we could hold this level as support and then fill the rest of the range. So for main shorts, I'm waiting to come higher into this range to test the key levels, right? Again, being between about, you know, 69,488 and 68,779, as well as this value area high 786 above. So if, just to be clear, if I were to take a short here, it would be very, very local on a smaller time frame, right? Like if I mark out this bada boom, right? And I'm not in this trade. I haven't taken this trade. I don't know if I will take this trade, but if I were, just imagine, right? We're looking for a 1% move about, not a gigantic dump. I would be in and out of this trade very, very quickly. So let's see what is going on. We'll see. Are we going to fill the single prints, or are we going to hold them as support? Because sometimes when you're above these single prints, guys, you know, I know a lot of people look at these as like they just always get filled, but sometimes when you're above them, they can act as support, and when you're below them, you know, for the most part, expect these single prints to act as support unless you get accepted inside of them, and then you see them oftentimes fill down to the low. So yeah, keep that in mind. But if you hold above this, it could act as decent support. And let me... what was our next key level? Was sitting right up here at about 65.8. Just mark that out so I don't have to keep looking for it. 65.8. So that would be somewhat of a key level. You know, not a key level, but just local level of resistance. But let's see. See what happens. Yeah, I mean, just really not just for an FOMC meeting, not much happening here. Let's see. 15-minute bear div is still there, still potentially looking to print. See what happens. All right, let's see. Bada boom, bada boom. Shout out to AA Crypto Talks. Let's go. Reckon the shorts up because we FOMO long, then back down to wipe. Yeah, shout out to 12 Big. That is typically what we see. Flipping that value area high on the lower time frames doesn't mean we'll hold it long term. But yeah, I would, we'll have to see what happens here. Nothing really too obvious here, in my opinion, at least as of right now. Like a nice 5-minute bear div with money flow coming out here would be very, very nice. Let's see. Yeah, we just don't have it. We'll have to see, right? We're not really getting the local signals to go short here, in my opinion, right? Doesn't mean we can't come down. But for me, I don't have the confirmations to take the trade, unfortunately. I am sitting here ready to take it, guys. But just no confirmations for me yet. And again, this would be a micro scalp. So, you know, even if, you know, I would expect something like this, right? Like, boop, and then maybe we just go back up. So not looking to short this whole thing for today, but just a nice little local scalp trade. Yeah, so I would watch, you know, again, we have that liquidity above. I would watch this key level right here, guys, sitting at about 65,790. Other than that, pretty uneventful as of right now. How long have we been live for? Yeah, all right, so let's see, 70K and then a small correction. That is what I would like. That is exactly what I would like. 69, I would like to come into this 69.3, 69.4 zone, even up to about 70 to 72, 71-ish, these two boxes. I would love to come up there and then look for a short. Yeah, what level? KE says, what level to watch next? It depends on what you're looking for. Like, when we sign off of this live stream, I'm going to be watching this zone very, very carefully for a potential short. But like I said, not a short that I'm looking to hold down for longer, right? Like, this is on a 5-minute time frame looking for, like, maybe a 1 to 2% move, right? So I'm in and out of that. Just for context, zooming out here, coming to, like, a 4-hour time frame, that trade would occur, right? That whole trade, I'd be in and out of it in this tiny little area, right? So I'm not looking to ride it down to the bottom of the range necessarily, but I would be looking just about right here. You know, all that action would happen within this price action. So for the most part, what I would be looking at for the longer term, or, you know, for the more significant trades, I would simply be looking up towards this area right here, right? Come on, volume profile. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I would be, just simply waiting for our POC golden pocket. Let me re-pull this fib just so I can be a little bit more clear here from the high to the low, about, right? And then this actually wound up moving a bit because our price action is developing all the time. So if I pull this back to the range we were looking at before there, pull it in a bit right there. Interesting. I'll just pull this up here because this already has the level on it. Where'd it go? Right here. Yeah, so basically right up here. We have a golden pocket. This was the POC. The POC is moving, but this golden pocket would be a pretty good place for me to look for me, right? Not for you, but for me to be looking for potential short positions. This is coming in between about, 69.1 to 69.2. That's what I'd be looking at for a potential correction to the downside. Until then, tiny little scalp trades, very tight risk management, not looking to hold them for very long. I am sitting on my hands and waiting for higher for shorts or lower for longs. But other than that, just going to be messing around here on the lower time frames. But again, be careful out there, guys, because the volatility is quite crazy. Let's see. Oh, yeah, shout out to Lane Casey. Or Laney Casey. Hopefully I said that right. Says, Frankie, when you say you're ready to short, can you share, does that mean you already have a trade with a trigger price out of the range and you quickly edit it? I miss trades. I take too long creating it. Okay, so for when I say I'm ready to short, right, let me go back to the other chart here, right? So for this, when I mean ready, I mean like sitting at the computer, right, like looking at the chart, keeping an eye on the order flow, keeping an eye on the candlestick charts, keeping an eye on the liquidation heat map. So I am sitting here waiting for very specific confirmations to take the short. And if I get them, that is where I take it. So when I say I'm ready to take a short, I don't use limit orders. I typically mark it into the market. I mark it into the trades, right? I don't use limit orders. I just simply hit buy or sell and get instantly into the trade. So if that's what you're asking, I don't have like a level set here. I don't have a limit order set here that when price hits it, I get in, right? I literally hit sell when I want to short. But yeah, I'm not really getting those confirmations here, especially on the order flow. I'm really not seeing it. It does look like we may want to push up to our next local level. But again, if you're not a low time frame scalper, like I wouldn't really pay much attention to this. For the longer term trades, again, just waiting for higher, right? Like coming up here to about 69.1. So there you go. And we could cover this on tonight's live stream, which is not too far away from now. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can get a move before the actual live stream, so we'll have something to talk about. But yeah, other than that, guys, pretty lackluster meeting. I'm sure as soon as we end this meeting or end this live stream, we will see a move down to we'll see a move down or up in some aggressive manner. But they always wait for us to get off the live here. Shout out to Retro Mike. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, "Oh, hello there, Mr. 60K. Hashtag bring back Rob Candles." Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. I assume that's who you're shouting out. Shout out to Retro Mike. Thank you for calling me Mr. 60K. We did hit 60,000 subscribers yesterday. It was super, super dope. And guys, before I let you go, don't forget, we are giving away 0.02 Bitcoin. Let me just pull up the Discord real quick. I know you guys can't see, but I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't sharing anything bad. This is all old stuff, so they're not really sharing anything secret there. Little sneak peek into the premium Discord there. But if you come on over to the free Mafia community and go to giveaways, guys, simply put, just come on in here and click participate to enter a chance to win that 0.02 Bitcoin. Link in the description down below to the free Discord. Again, once you get in, come to Mafia Community, giveaways, click participate, and then you're in it to win it. So with all that being said, guys, sorry for the boring price action. I was hoping for something big to happen. I bet you if I didn't stream, this thing would have gone to 100K. But with all that being said, shout out to Dave Digital. Shout out to Mark. Says Alaska loves you. Shout out to Mark. Mark Hoge? Hoagie? Shout out to the Hoagies. But shout out to you, bro. Love from the USA. Thank you for being here, bro. All the way from Alaska. Well, I guess you are the USA. But shout out from the ATL, I guess. But shout out to you, man. We got Post. Shout out to Harry Potter. Thank you for tuning in. We buy any watches. Frankie, will price come down to 51K? Very, very hard to just call it like black or white like that. But I will say 51K is the next significant level of support that I am looking at. Now, real quick, just to kind of show, again, we showed this in the beginning of the stream, right? We lose these range lows, right? Just remember, these big moves up, these big fast moves up, oftentimes result in very quick big moves down, right? And our next key level of support is, like, the next higher time frame key level of support is sitting here around that $51,000 level. So whether we get down there or not is another story. I will say money flow on the medium to higher time frames could be pointing in that direction. But again, it's very hard to call it because if we are going to just continue up in a parabolic movement and just really start going up and to the right, it's very, very likely that we could just test this POC that we already hit and come up higher. And the money flow would likely get stepped on. But if we see the money flow, like as far as the charts and the technicals go right now, money flow is pointing to the downside. So if we see a continued downtrend and we lose this range, I would definitely be looking down to 51K because there really is not much below us. 57K, we have some support, but for the most part, this is the next significant level. And again, taking a look at the liquidity heat maps, we run that 3-month chart. Again, we do have a significant amount of liquidity just below 51K, right? From all the people who were longing the low of this range, that 51K zone has a lot of liquidity. So it does make sense to get gravitated down there. But we just have to be careful because a lot of times in these big moves up, the money flow will fake out into the red and then just come right back up into the green. That's why I'm kind of like back and forth a lot. Not back and forth, but why I'm kind of like very hesitant to just call for that move down, right? Like if we were not in the point of the market where we could potentially just start seeing things go up, this would be a very clear signal to call for the downside. So as far as that, I would look for a move down eventually. But again, waiting for higher up for the shorts, guys. Starting to get a little push up there. See, I told you, we almost ended the stream and price started to move. I guess not really. It's not really moving that much. Yeah. That's what we're looking at, guys. And with all that being said, I think that's all the time we got for today's live stream. I will see you guys later tonight at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's all I got. Shout out to Retro Mike, Crypto Pollo. The 59K scam wick. Yeah, shout out to Crypto Pollo. Like this wick down here at 59.88, guys, is another level to watch, right? Because I will say this, there's not really liquidation sitting here on the heat map that I would like to see for a liquidity run down there. But this wick is very suspicious because you have to imagine that even if it's not on the heat map, let me see, bada boom, bada bing. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, so at about 59.80. Yeah, we don't really have those liquidations sitting there, which is so interesting to me. Maybe this is it. No. Yeah, 59. Yeah, 59K. Like right here, we have a little bit of liquidity, but it's not really too intense, which is very, very interesting in my opinion. But yeah, 100% going to be watching this wick as well, because if we do come down, we could watch for a slip of this level and then acceptance back into these ranges to go higher. So another very, very key level to watch. And this is kind of the level that if we lose it, I'm not immediately worried. But if we don't reclaim it quickly and come back up into this range, I would be worried about losing that range and coming down to that 51K level. This is kind of, the last resort. But it doesn't mean that if we hit it and lose it for a few days, like a few minutes, right, that we're just going to nuke to the floor. Because honestly, what I would look for here, if we don't get a swing failure pattern, is I would kind of look to create a range down here of some kind and then look for a long position within the range to hopefully get accepted back into the volume profile and then come to the high. So definitely watch that wick as well. And with all that being said, this is actually all the time we got now. I'll see you guys later at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all for tuning in. Smash that like button on your way out. And don't forget to get into that 0.02 Bitcoin giveaway sponsored by Golden, our amazing community member. Drop those golden emojis in chat if you got them. That's all I got. I'll see you guys next time. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out,